Welcome to Duality Gamecast, the show for people who love to play games. And now your hosts, Matt and William.
Today we're doing a quick review of Guildhall. I believe it's called Fellowship this version. Let's get to the table and have Matt show us how it's played.
Guildhall is a game for 2 to 4 players. During the game, players will play cards from their hand, triggering abilities and completing sets, which they will use to purchase victory point cards. First player to 20 victory points wins. The game begins with 5 victory point cards dealt out for future purchase, and each player with a starting hand of 6 cards. On a player's turn, they may take 2 actions, of which there are 3 options. They may play 1 card to the table from their hand, triggering its ability, discard any number of cards, drawing back to 6 cards, or buy 1 victory point card, cashing in completed chapters, sets of cards, to buy that card. When a card is played, the ability on the card is triggered. The more of that card already in play, the more powerful the effect can be. In our example, we play Yellow Bard. The Bard's ability has 3 levels. At 0 bards in play, you search the discard pile and swap 1 card from it with 1 card already in your Guildhall. At 2 bards in play, search the discard pile for 2 cards and swap them with 2 cards already in your Guildhall. At 4 bards in play, search the discard for 3 cards and swap them with a chapter in your Guildhall. In our example, we play a Yellow Bard, allowing us to retrieve 3 Ranger cards from the discard pile and swap them with our 1 Monk chapter. At the end of a turn, any card play is added to its respective chapter in your Guildhall. If a chapter has all 5 colors in it, it is turned over and can now be used to purchase a victory point card on a subsequent turn. As an action, you may spend a completed chapter to purchase a victory point card. Some victory point cards cost 2 completed chapters to purchase. Victory point cards may have abilities as well as a victory point value. If so, the ability is resolved as soon as the card is purchased. In our example, the 4 victory point card also gives the player an additional action that turn. Play continues clockwise until a player reaches 20 victory points. When a player reaches 20 victory points, the game ends immediately.
Huzzah! Alright, so that was our quick overview of Guildhall Fellowship. William, what's your take on this game?
It's familiar. It reminds me a lot of other Guildhall games we played because it fundamentally is what the other Guildhall games we played. This particular one, because we've only played Fellowship of the newest version, they've tweaked some of the abilities of the cards, so it's not an exact mirror of the previous game. The big thing is a graphic update with the art, and I think a cleaner, if you're not colorblind, and even if you are, maybe a cleaner distinction between the colors of the individual people in the guilds. The fact that they're just the whole background's this solid color, and there's actually different looks to them. It's not just the same cloud thing with a color shift in it. Really, I think is, believe it or not, one of the big positive aspects to me in this game. It's really easy to see the difference in the individual colors. There's the ones that I like to call like space bards and space druids, which is the night sky. Just all the way around, I think the big difference for this one is the graphic update and the fact that there's going to be multiple expansions coming out that are compatible. But the general gameplay, very familiar, very much the same way. And the cards, it's not like there's a new even mechanic on the cards in this one. It's just a slight tweak of previous ones. That being said, it works really great, and I think I've enjoyed playing it, and it's kind of rekindled our like of Guildhall, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So how about you? How does the gameplay work for you?
Well, it's Guildhall. I've always loved Guildhall. I feel like we've only played Fellowship so far. There's 3 new sets. I think as of this recording, you could buy 2 of the 3. So I feel like we've seen these cards that are, oh, that's like the farmer from old Guildhall, or that's like the historian from old Guildhall. But they've tweaked them enough that not only are they different, but I feel like kind of more balanced.
Yes.
For instance, the old farmer, peasant guy, put him down, get gold equal to however many there are, right? The new guy is, the ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Put him down, get gold equal to however many there are. However, you now have to take a card out of your Guildhall and give it to another player. So, if you've played any of the Guildhalls, you know that whole deal is pretty positive for both sides, and it still has to be a legal play, which kind of limits the ranger a little bit more. You can't just throw anything to another player. It has to be something they don't have already.
And if you're playing a really tight game like I just play, where it's just a ranger combo where you're just generating points, you're giving away. You only have maybe 1 or 2 options, and you might not be able to trade those cards away. You can actually limit what you're doing. You have to play around it a little bit.
Right. The other cool thing is they've added another symbol to the card. So the old Guildhall was really cool because it had symbols on all the cards that were analogous to the colors.
Yeah.
So that was neat because it was a colorblind thing. If you had that challenge, there's a symbol, no problem. Well, they still have that, but now they've added a sort of rod class symbol.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really looking forward to getting the new sets, because one of the ways you can play this game going forward with the new sets is take out all of the fighter type class guys and just play a game with all fighters, or just play a game with all magic users. And they all have a symbol for that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays. I think they also have one where you throw everything together and the classes become the guild chapters.
That seems interesting to me.
So you can have technically, all the same class, but because they're slightly different abilities, keying off of, I have 2 fighters and 1 barbarian, whatever it's going to be, now. But that counts as 3 of the fighter class when I trigger this 4th guy. So there's going to be like this extra little twist coming. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to that. I feel like they've balanced it a little bit, and they've created this more long-term replayability with the whole thing.
What do you think about the art on it, though?
I think most people agree they've kicked up the art a notch from the old sets.
I think so, yeah.
The old sets are a little bland, blasé kind of thing. They were not bad, but they were kind of... this new art is definitely more current sort of feeling fantasy art.
Yes.
And it really kind of evokes those feelings. Everybody really looks like a cool version of whatever, ranger, sorcerer, monk, fighter. So I like it. The iconography really hasn't changed, which is I actually like, because we didn't have to scratch our head and figure things out too much. One neat thing is they added these little helper cards, mm-hmm. Which are just there for people to read the expanded explanations of all the guild chapter abilities, which is neat for new players.
Yes,
because we have actually taught this to at least one new player. Other than that, it's just very tight, straightforward. Maybe the background colors look a little Photoshoppy.
Yes, the old ones did too.
Yeah.
To me, my happy point is that they don't look like they're all the same Photoshop filter.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the green and the red one are both kind of cloudy, but there's at least a difference between the 2 clouds, not just the same cloud when they change the hue to green or to blue or whatever. But yes, it's definitely very plain. But I think that's also, it almost feels like they designed it that way on purpose, because all the art, if you're looking at it, there's a figure with a background that's kind of a square cut, and then the figure kind of goes out past the background. So they really didn't need to have that little extra background on. Probably just kept them from looking like they're floating in a void. And then they put so much color around it, and I think that, to me, it's much easier to tell the colors in this one. It wasn't hard in the other one. I think the colors are also more friendly. I don't know how to explain it. The other one had like weird purple colors and stuff that just to me weren't aesthetically pleasing. This one, when it's on the board, I don't look at it and go, ugh. Yeah. It looks pleasant and like it's a weird thing to talk about, but it's the color schemes just seem to work better for me in this one.
I wonder. There's a couple changes for people that are familiar with Guildhall. Not changes, but there's this fighter card in this set, which I guess is sort of analogous to the assassin.
I think it was the assassin
from old Guildhall, but now he's part of a bigger class, right? So in the next 2 sets, we're going to see theoretically at least a couple more of those. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to that because I'm wondering that's extra aggro. It could potentially be a lot more aggro than old Guildhall had. So I'm curious to see how that goes because I already feel like this fighter class is very nuanced. There's a right time and a wrong time to go fighter.
Yes.
We taught. Well, I don't think he'd played old Guildhall, but we played with someone who hadn't played Guildhall in a long time, and he just went heavy fighter at the beginning of the game with trying to blow stuff up, and it just didn't get him anywhere. He wasn't building his books to score points, and the harm he was doing to other people wasn't enough to balance that out, especially in a game with like 3 other players.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, the fighter as it stands is more like a check. Like that guy's getting really close to ending this game because this is a race game. We need to blow some stuff up and slow him down. Like that's to me where the fighter is useful.
It's surgical. I feel more than just like clubbing people over the head with it.
Right. So I want to see how that happens, and this goes with all the classes. Like as you get the rest of the sets, what's that going to look like with a bunch of fighters running around, a bunch of magic users running around? It could be interesting.
So you seem interested, but how are you going to rate it?
Oh, this is Guildhall. This is a must-buy for me. You got to have one version at least of Guildhall in your collection, in my opinion. It's just a really tight, thinky, but not overly complicated card game. It has some real neat combo stuff that can appeal to people that are into that kind of thing. It's got some pretty good planning and thinking and choices to make, and it still has a lot of it's a card game, variability happening. And now with multiple sets and multiple ways to play, it's a must-buy for me. Got to have at least one of these in your collection. I will end up with all 3 of these in my collection. Mm-hmm. Side note, if they ever wanted to make a tweak to this game or an optional rule, I would love to see some kind of objective cards or mission cards that added a secret bonus at the in-game scoring, because the one knock I would ever really give against Guildhall is it's a race game, and most of the time you're going to lose a whole turn in advance of the time when the game ends.
Yes, I see what you're saying there.
So I would be a neat twist. You probably get to work on that. All right, so how would you rate it?
I'm going to go with a love it. I think I can't give it a must buy because of what you just said. It's that last round of depression in the game. Overall, I really love this game. The fact, though, that you're just watching someone finishes, they close a chapter, and like, well, they have a book, and they're going to buy, they just need 2 points to win. I can't win on my turn. Go. That can get frustrating. But at the same time, you also have cool turns where it's like, that person needs 5 points to win. There's 2 5-point cards. There's 3 of us. We need to buy those 5-point cards before it gets around to them, and people are doing unoptimum things to try to get a 5-point card that when really they should buy the 7.1 or something else, just to try to make sure this person doesn't win. I'm pointing at you. So that aspect of it balances that out a little bit, but that's over multiple games. So with just one session, you can get kind of a ho-hum into it.
Yeah.
So for that, just to love it. So guys, let us know in the comments below if you play Guildhall, if you played the new Fellowship, what you think of the game in general. And as always, thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Guildhall is a game for 2 to 4 players. During the game, players will play cards from their hand, triggering abilities and completing sets, which they will use to purchase victory point cards. Oh God, stop.
Huzzah! A man of quality!